from the mind of one of the most accomplished professional tournament bass anglers. Whether it's from the front deck of his bass boat or high up in a tree stand, Clark Wendland loves the Texas outdoors and wants to share it all with you.
You know, it's going to be an incredible adventure, and I look forward to bringing the viewer what this awesome state has to offer, from great fishing to great hunting to a bunch of excitement. It ought to be really awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us today on Fishing and Hunting Texas. Every winter, when I start thinking about bass fishing, it's still cold and nasty outside. Texas has just the thing though, power plant lakes. They're small, warm water lakes. They got hot water discharges on them that pump a little bit of warm water into the lake. They usually got real restrictive slot limits on it and a whole lot of bass. We're gonna focus on 3 different lakes around the state of these power plant lakes. Today, Decker Lake. Ought to be a great show. Join us.
Let's take a closer look at this area in our Lake Spotlight.
You know, Decker's a lake I fished my whole life. I fished it when I was a kid. It's also called Lake Walter E. Long, but the locals and most people I know call it Decker Lake. It's right off Decker Lane. That's just the name of the lake to me. And so I fished it when I was a kid. It's always been similar to it is now. It used to have a little bit deeper grass that went out 10, 12, 14 foot of water. Now most of the grass comes out to say 6 feet of water. But it doesn't really matter because it's got cover, and that's the important thing. I love that about Decker. You know that you can rip a bait through that grass and you have a chance to catch some really good fish. So as I look at the depth finder right here, I started out with a crankbait that was running 3 or 4 feet deep. I thought the grass would probably come up pretty high, but it doesn't. It's more down 4, 5, 6 feet down. Is kind of what the average is. And so I got about a crankbait that runs about 6 feet deep so I can hit that grass. And I learned all that just looking at the Garmin 840. I mean, just basically one look at it, kind of going over it a couple of different times. And your crankbait's gonna run into the grass. You gotta have it bump the grass some. The watercolor's such that you can't just fish on top of it. You gotta actually hit it. And so as we go, we'll just kind of mix and match and change baits. If the grass comes up higher, we'll change to a shallow running crankbait. There's a fish. First bite of the day right there. Oh. That guy just barely did get that bait. Not a great big one, but it's the first bite. And that fish right there will just tell us something. To me, that's what's important. I got that bite about 5 feet deep, over the top of the grass, bait barely hit the grass, loads up. There's a start. There's one. I actually switched to a chatterbait right there. And that chatterbait, if you watch me fish that thing, basically, I always am jerking it because the grass comes up pretty high, so it's just hard to pull that bait through it. But that's a good fat fish right there. We've been fishing and the fishing's just gotten tough. I had 3 or 4 bites early when it was cloudy. All of a sudden the sun comes out and I just hadn't had any more bites. I've tried probably 5 or 6 different things, and that's the thing, you just got to keep changing.
Clark has managed to catch a few scattered fish, but no real pattern has emerged. He's making a small change to see if he can drum up some action.
There's one. Just made a bait switch. Get in here. Because I've been missing some fish. And, I don't know what it is, if it's a color or what, but there's a result 2 casts in. Let's see if it makes any difference again. I changed to a bait that's got a square lip instead of a little bit of a rounded lip. Bait's not really much different other than it's just a different color. There's one. That's a better fish. Ooh. These fish are basically, they just started biting is what's happened. We've been out here all day and It's getting to be about early afternoon. That's a good fish. And all of a sudden, you know, we've had some bites and I keep saying, man, there's one that misses my bait and there's another one that misses my bait. It's a good solid fish right there, over 3 pounds. That's pretty cool.
More Power Plant Lake fun when Fishing and Hunting Texas returns. Fishing and Hunting Texas is brought to you in part by Cabelas, it's in your nature. Garmin, the power of simple. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time.
Fish on! Come on, get together.
The Arctic Ice Tundra Series, capable of keeping your food frozen all day long. The Tundra Series is a portable, safe, and reusable alternative ideally suited to replace dry ice. Keep your food as frozen as the Tundra with the Tundra Series from Arctic Ice.
Like what you see on Americana Outdoors? Check out AmericanaOutdoors.com for all the latest fishing information. AmericanaOutdoors.com has a great variety of fishing channels for saltwater and freshwater sportsmen. Check it out at AmericanaOutdoors.com.
From bass and walleye to crappie in the great outdoors, you deserve more than old school aluminum. Experience the quality, performance, and fishability of a Ranger aluminum design. Coupled with Evinrude E-Tech's power, performance, and 300 hours with no dealer-scheduled maintenance, these advanced designs from Ranger are engineered to excel and priced to be yours. Experience more with Evinrude E-Tech.
Hi, I'm Cabelas Pro Staffer Wade Middleton. Aquatic invasive species are threatening our lakes and rivers. We must act now or the results could be devastating. Visit Cabelas.com to learn more about how you can help stop the spread of aquatic hitchhikers.
When you pack your cooler for a barbecue or even a tailgate party, be sure to pack it with Chillin' Brew, powered by Arctic Ice. Chillin' Brew in a cooler can keep beer at the perfect drinking temperature longer than ice. Grab some brews and Chillin' Brew today.
Welcome back to Fishing and Hunting Texas with host Clark Wendlandt.
You know, the idea behind this show is to fish some of what Texas has a lot of, and that's power plant lakes. And what a power plant lake is, to me, it's a cooling pond for a big giant power plant that basically makes electricity. And so the water's a lot warmer going. The great thing about them is when you fish those power plant lakes early in the year, you can get some spring conditions while it's still winter or while it's still really early season. And I just love that.
Clark has started his power plant lake tour here at Walter E. Long Lake, also known as Decker Lake. And although he's caught several fish, overall, he's had a tough morning.
What happened as that day went on is we weren't getting very many bites at first, and we weren't getting very many bites, and then all of a sudden we started getting some bites. And you know, it was slow, but one and then another one and another one, and it got to about midday we were starting to get bit pretty regular. And then as the day wore out, I kept saying, man, we're just catching 2-pounders, 3-pounders. You know, what I was trying to do was target some of those bigger fish. And so as that day went on, I started pulling out just a little bit deeper and fishing in my bait really, really slow. I was reeling a chatterbait, just barely moving it through the grass and, you know, jerking it as it came into that grass. And that's how we really caught the really big fish. That feels like a pretty good one. Ooh. Come on. Oh, that's a good fish. Barely reeling that thing. Oh yeah, that's a good one right there. We are absolutely just at the end of the day trying to get us a good bite, and we got it right here. Oh, that's too awesome out there. Oh gosh, look at the size of that giant fish right there. Now that's what kind of fish we've been looking for all day, and what we kind of just figured out, caught one on a chatterbait just a minute ago, caught that big old bad boy right there on a chatterbait. Just a little bit deeper, just got out a little bit deeper and got in that little bit thicker grass. Awesome, awesome.
Now let's head over to Fayette County Reservoir for stop number 2.
Just put the boat in the water idling out. And one thing we know about power plant lakes, this is Fayette County Reservoir, we know that there's a lot of bass here. This is a really, really good lake. And so the thing about it is it's early January, cold. The water temperature is still pretty good though. It's gonna be anywhere from 55. We get near the discharge, it might even be over 60, 65 degrees. So what I'm thinking is those fish are thinking about wanting to spawn. They want to be shallow this time of year. And so anytime you get any kind of warming trend or the water's just warm, then you start thinking that way. Even though the air temperature's cold on these power plant lakes, you can catch them shallow. That's pretty cool. Now look at that black spot on that fish right there. That's like a pigmentation that they get. You see it a lot stronger this time of year. Some people say they got them all the time, some people don't, but I love when I see that right there. Not a real big, I was barely reeling that thing right there. So it's a start now. You know, if somebody asked me what the main thing I would do coming into fishing a new body of water or one you hadn't been on before, it's just what I do every day. And that is basically just keep my eye on my electronics. I'm sitting here down here looking at the Garmin 840. I mean, when I say looking at it constantly, I mean really about every cast. I'll look down at it and see if there's something there, see if something's changed. Are we getting into a little different depth? Is the cover a little bit different? I mean, it can tell me so much. I may see fish down there. I'm fishing pretty shallow right now. It's a little bit hard to see fish, but if there was a lot of fish, I could even see them down there. So maybe see balls of bait. You start seeing balls of bait, you start thinking, well, at least I'm in the right place.
Clark has caught a few cranking just outside of a bay that looks good to him, but he's still looking for that big Fayette bass.
All about the same. Yeah. Get in here. That's a little bit better fish right there. Get a 2.5 pounder anyway.
When Fishing and Hunting Texas returns, the action on Fayette really heats up. Clark has long trusted Ranger boats to get him to and from his spots on the water safely. Let's put your Ranger knowledge to the test. What are the components of Ranger's exclusive zone-tempered fiberglass layup process? For the answer to this and for a Ranger boat that was built to be yours, visit mydreamrig.com.
Call me a fool for searching. Nessie doesn't want to be found. But I've got the new Garmin combo with the clearest scanning sonar images on the water. I can see Nessie's home and all the wee fish in crisp detail. I mean, look at it, look. It's her. You are real. You do exist.
Lucas Fishing Reel Oil is a special blend of oil and additives, specifically designed to lubricate all moving parts in freshwater and saltwater fishing reels, and rust corrosion protection even under the most adverse conditions. The new one-drop applications allow you to put just the right amount of lubricant into hard-to-reach areas. Increase your reel performance with Lucas Oil High Performance products. Available at Cabelas.
Hi, I'm Billy Gerke, and whether you're taking your son or daughter on his or her first outdoor adventure or enjoying some time for yourself outdoors, the team at Foreverlast wants you to know we strive to make only the best products, and it is our promise to you to continue to bring new ideas and improve others to keep you at the forefront of your pursuit. Family, friends, and the great outdoors, it's who we are. Foreverlast.
The Alaskan Series Cooler Packs by Arctic Ice. Specifically designed to keep your food and drinks cold all day long without having to use ice and end up with a soggy lunch. The Alaskan Series by Arctic Ice. Bitterly cold.
Like what you see on Americana Outdoors? Check out AmericanaOutdoors.com for the latest outdoor news. You can view all of our recent episodes and get all the info about our outdoor expeditions. Check it out at AmericanaOutdoors.com.
From bass and walleye to crappie in the great outdoors, you deserve more than old school aluminum. Experience the quality, performance, and fishability of a Ranger aluminum design. Coupled with Evinrude E-Tech's power, performance, and 300 hours with no dealer-scheduled maintenance, these advanced designs from Ranger are engineered to excel and priced to be yours. Experience more with Evinrude E-Tech.
Fishing and Hunting Texas is brought to you in part by Arctic Ice. Preserve an Arctic refuge in your cooler. AmericanaOutdoors.com, your website for fishing and hunting news. And by Lucas Oil Marine Products, made in America, sold to the world. Welcome back to Fishing and Hunting Texas with host Clark Wendlandt. One of Clark's favorite ways to fish is flipping in the shallows, and one way he gets to do that, even in the cold early spring, is by visiting one of the many power plant lakes all over Texas.
When the calendar changes January 1st, I start thinking big bass. That's what I'm thinking of. And you know, when it's cold and when it's nasty, the fish can still be pretty warm on those power plant lakes and they'll still bite pretty well.
Clark is fishing 3 power plant lakes on today's show, and he is at Fayette County Reservoir for stop number 2.
I felt one hit it right before that one got it. It's pretty good one here. I'm good on that thing. I'm actually going to set my power pole down so I don't move any right here. Now that power pole, it's not always just about anchoring. A lot of times it's about boat control. And that boat, when you can control that boat and keep it right where you want, look how fat that guy is. That's awesome. There's one. Pretty good feeling one too, right there. I got to get back out there. Had one to cast before. I can't think of any bait that I'd rather be throwing this time of year than a crankbait. And the reason is they're feeding, and typically, like especially on this lake, they're feeding on shad, and I know that. Nice fat fish. Fayette is a real strong power plant. It puts out a lot of warm water, and I knew the water would be pretty warm, and it was. It was up 60, even 65 degrees in some of those bays and pockets that we fished, and the fish wanted to be back in the bay, but they weren't right up on the bank. They were close to the bank. They were just in that deepest water that was closest to it. Yes, good one. That's a good one right there. Now I hit that same tree literally 5 or 6 times. And I had fish nearly every time I've hit it. I caught that little bitty one just a second ago on that tree. That thing's hooked, not very good. There we go. Look at that. Fayette County bassing right there. Pretty awesome. I tell you what, man, these lakes got a lot of fish in them, and you can expect to catch fish in these lakes. The water's warm, fishing's good. That was too much.
When Fishing and Hunting Texas returns, we'll head to our last stop.
Come I'm a fool for searching. Nessie doesn't want to be found. But I've got the new Garmin combo with the clearest scanning sonar images on the water. I can see Nessie's home and all the wee fish in crisp detail. I mean, look at it, look. It's her. You are real. You do exist.
Since 1976, Delta Ag has been an industry leader in plant health and nutrition. With our innovative concept and chemistry, Delta Ag produces healthier crops and improves yields. We formulate biostimulants and micronutrients designed to improve fertilizer efficiency and increase crop response to nutrients. Make your fertilizer go further with reliable products that work. Grow healthier crops from the ground up with versatile low-rate products. Delta Ag, improving plant performance.
I'm Cabelas Pro Staffer Wade Middleton. Aquatic invasive species are threatening our lakes and rivers. We must act now or the results could be devastating. Visit Cabelas.com to learn more about how you can help stop the spread of aquatic hitchhikers.
The Arctic Ice Tundra Series, capable of keeping your food frozen all day long. The Tundra Series is a portable, safe, and reusable alternative ideally suited to replace dry ice. Keep your food as frozen as the Tundra with the Tundra Series from Arctic Ice.
First by land and now by sea. For years, Lucas Oil has been a staple in high-performance vehicles on both the road and track. Now, from the makers of Lucas Oil comes Lucas Marine Products, specifically engineered for marine applications. Protect and lubricate your marine inboard, outboard, or high-performance boat with Lucas Marine Engine Oil or Lucas Synthetic-Based Oil. Lucas Oil Marine Products available at Cabelas.
At Fibia, we've resolved to build a product that nobody else offers, using methods that nobody else is using, optimized for life on water and land. The choice of top bass fishing pros. Fibia frames are designed to fit comfortably no matter how your face is shaped, to stay firmly in place through your most physical activities, and to float in water. Fibia sunglasses are truly designed for life on the water.
Welcome back to Fishing and Hunting Texas with host Clark Wendlandt.
Hey, we've had the opportunity to fish Decker Lake near Austin, go down near Houston, fish Fayette County Lake. Both of those lakes produce some really good fishing. We got another power plant lake today, Braunig Lake. It's a legendary power plant lake that I've actually never had the opportunity to fish. We're down south of San Antonio. It's a cold, miserable day. I'm excited about it because, you know, as much as I've heard about it, I've never had the opportunity to fish here. It ought to be a fun day. Let's see if we can go figure them out. You know, so when you get to Braunig, one thing I notice about it is it's a small lake. It's not really, really big. And when I looked at it, there was only a couple of places I thought you really could catch fish, shallow. You know, when we got there, put the boat in the water, it's a cold day, water temperature, say 55, 56 degrees. When we got near the discharge, it was up to 63, 64 degrees. And so to me, that's water temperature where bass should be shallow. I don't feel like I ought to have to go out and fish 25 foot of water. A lot of the bait was really deep, but when I looked at the shallow cover there, it was shallow rocks, riprap, dikes, broken rock, a couple of bridges, things that just seemed like they would hold bass. And that stuff really wasn't very good. Then the other thing that you can really notice and sticks out at you when you get there is there's a lot of reeds along the shoreline. Well, when we got there, I wasn't really sure how deep they were. It was the second option we tried, and as soon as we got in there and started flipping reeds, we started getting bites. Oh, there's one. Look at oh gosh, I lost that fish. That fish right there is the first bite we've had. We've been flipping for probably 15 minutes, and it was back in a really thick place. So what's happening here is the way these buggy whips come out, it's about 4 foot on the outside of them, but it's real thin on the outside. And so it's some thicker stuff back in there. It's a cold day, we're on the backside of a front, and that fish was deformed fat. The next bite we get, I'm gonna show you. I didn't get him up there, but man, that was a nice one right there. That's just part though of fishing in heavy cover. You're fishing in heavy cover, I mean, you're not gonna hook them all. got him there though. Get up here, boy. Look at the fat, deformed looking fish right here. Look how fat he is. Now he's probably, I'm just guessing, but he's probably on a bed. He bit that thing as soon as look how fat that bass is. I mean, thickness from here to here, he's about as long as he is wide. That is too cool right there. There's nothing I like more than that right there. That is awesome. That is too much fun. Wow, that was pretty awesome right there. Now, I had that bite, jerk, missed him. I had seen him kind of, you know, chasing something. I mean, it may be on a bed, I don't know, but deformed fat. All we got to do is catch a long one now, and then we're gonna have a real fish on our hands. Get out of here, dude. Look how fat that dude is. I am not kidding you. It looks like a bluegill or a crappie or something. It's just like it's not even the same species. Look, I pulled one out and started laughing because it looked like a crappie. Out of all the healthy lakes I've fished this year, out of all the healthy lakes I've ever fished, Bronick has the fattest bass I've ever fished. Look at the size of that. I mean, that's nearly 4 pounds, and he's like 15.5 inches long. That's amazing. He's just almost deformed looking. Probably on a bed. You can look at that bloody tail. That bloody tail right there. So he's probably on a bed. I'm gonna get him back in. You know, in this episode, I really wanted to showcase what some of these power play lakes can do. We caught some really big fish, but the fishing's different in each one of these. Some of them got shallow grass, some of them got shallow reeds, some of them got a lot of riprap rock. There's deep structure all over all of them, but one thing they've all got is great bass fishing. Look at that thing. I just can't help it. Let me stick my power poles down. But laugh at these bass. Look at this thing. I mean, it's just deformed. That's a pig. That's a pre-spawn bass right there. Hey, thanks for joining us. I tell you what, power plant bass, and when it's cold or even when it's not, these lakes got a lot of fish in them. Some really good fish too. They got some restrictive limits. Give them a try.
Remember to find us online at fishandhuntingtexas.com, where you can watch full episodes of our shows and find out Clark's tips and thoughts on today's show by reading his blog. There's also a link to our Facebook page, where you'll be up to date on where Clark is and what he's up to out in the Texas outdoors. See you next week.